So many items. What are we gonna do? Let's go through that. First up, we're gonna go how to reroll attributes on an item. This is important because if you get an item that has great stats except for one item, you can actually reroll it by going to the occultist here. And the first reroll is pretty inexpensive. Subsequent ones get more expensive. You can only reroll one attribute on an item. You can't reroll more than one. Once you reroll one, it's locked in to be the rerolled stat, but you can reroll that stat multiple times at a cost. So I'm just showing you how you can go through and try to make an item actually functional. This is an example. I don't end up getting anything great out of this. Usually I reroll one item like maybe once because it's the cheapest roll. And if I don't get anything good, unless it's an item that's really, really superb, then I dump it at that time. So I'm just showing you how you can do that at the occultist in any of the major towns. And then there's also the way to pull aspects off. You can drop those there and you can take the legendary aspect off of it. And you can slap that on a rare and make your rare a legendary. And then there's also this little hidden tab up here that's hard to notice at first, but the Nightmare Dungeon sigils, you can destroy them for dust, and then you can use the dust to roll for dungeons that you actually prefer. Ideally Magic Find if you want items. There are other things to keep. If you think you can clear it really fast, keep the ones you can clear faster if you're looking for XP. And you'll see I have detailed tooltips turned on. I'm going to show you how to do that too. It tells you exactly what those modifiers do on the dungeon, so you can decide if you like doing them or not. And depending on your class and playstyle, it'll depend which ones you want to avoid. So now that you've got some dust, some sigil powder from destroying the other ones or from running dungeons, you can craft more and you get more randomized dungeons you can try. So if we don't like them, we just smash them and then do some more. You don't quite get 100% return when you destroy them, but you know, you can fish for what you want till you run out of materials, then run some more dungeons. After that, we're going to show you another thing you can do that's kind of hidden in the Alchemist. You can craft incense, and that's a buff for your whole party, and those buffs stack with the elixir buffs, which is nice. So if you're weak on armor or max life or something like that, you can craft these. It does take some of your enchanted materials and some materials you find out in the world, but you can also upgrade your materials if you're short on something. And that even includes making silver ore out of iron chunks. So silver ore tends to be one you run out of. You can get it in Helltides and little ore clicks. Pretty much any ore. The glittering's the best for it, but during a Helltide they can all drop it usually. Now, tooltips. Here's how you turn on your advanced tooltips. I'm turning them off so you can see what it looks like without them, which is what the default of the game is. If you want to actually see everything you can do, and what the buffs from the items and everything are, you want to turn this on, and it's in the options there. So if you look, the default is just like 20% increase, 23% less damage, 16% increased damage. And this is important because the damage modifier, I'm going to link a website below. The damage modifiers aren't one-to-one. They're not standard percent increases. So, and it's really important for determining which glyphs you use, because if you look, the glyphs just say the flat percentages. But you would think it would be like 100% increase would double your damage, but that's not how it works by default. There's a sum equation in the link below. But if you look here, you see a 16x. The x does work like a standard equation would, like you would think. If you have 50% extra, you do, you know, 150% damage versus normal. So if you look at the glyphs, you'll see that some of them have the X as the bonus requirement, and some do not. You're hunting for those X because it's a better damage modifier. That's all you really need to know, unless you really want to go crazy with the math, that the X is the best one. It's your standard percent increase like everything else would be, and standard life and everything. The other ones kind of have a diminishing return, and again, that equation will be linked on the site I'm going to put down below. So you can choose them based on that. If you want to go real deep into the math, just go through the link and you'll see all the different ways you can math that out. Also, if you see an ancestral item and it's rare but not legendary, you can turn that into something better. So a lot of the end game, you're not looking for legendaries with perfect rolls. You can look for rares with good item levels and good stats, all but one basically, and re-roll it and turn it into something you want to use. So once you decide it's something you want to use, you can upgrade it at the blacksmith, or if it's jewelry, at the jeweler. And you get up to 5 upgrades on that. And it increases all the stats that are already on there. You can choose to re-roll the stat at any time, but it's sometimes cheaper if you re-roll it as a rare before you turn it up to legendary. So now that we've upgraded it, we're going to re-roll it. Say we don't want that, and we can just enchant it and change what's on there. And basically you can do that as much as your money and materials permit in one stat. But again, once you do one stat, you're locked into re-rolling that one stat. So that's why you're looking for things that have all but one that you want. And you can just keep re-rolling it.
Wind favor you.
So if we get something we like, you can take an aspect that you pulled off a legendary and attach it to your rare, and it turns it into a legendary. So that's kind of the way you can optimize your gear once you have all legendaries and you're trying to increase your preferred stats. And depending on your build, that will be different. So you'll have to look up basically which stats are the best for your setup, mostly based on which X modifiers you're running. Then we slap the aspect on there, and now our rare is a legendary. And you can add sockets to that at the jeweler as well. And again, you're going to optimize those gems you put in there based on what you prefer for your spec. So that's a quick and dirty of how you itemize. Make sure those advanced tooltips are on. Reroll those ancestrals at least once if they have all but one thing you want, and maybe you'll get the thing you want. Or if it has everything you want, you can re-roll it to try to get a higher roll on it. And the good thing about the advanced tooltips you can see is that it shows the low and the high range for basically everything you can roll on that, so you'll know if it's good or not. And once you've done that, you can kind of optimize all your gear. Just going through and showing you what I'm running currently. It's not perfectly optimized, but you can see if you go for the X damage stuff, it will increase your damage more than the bonuses that don't have the X damage. And then throw in however much survivability you need. And you see that 16x, it could be up to 20%. So if you're just waiting for the best one, you can wait until item drops that has it on there and take that aspect off. And so that's how you can get the gear with the best stats on it. Thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video. Itemization in Diablo can be a bit confusing, but I hope this clears up a bit of it.